So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Fugitive Chefs podcast, the show about chefs and food people who have left traditional kitchens to create new models of creativity, of business, and of their own life and work balance. So, today's guest is David Castro, a former chef turned restaurant consultant and the founder of Food Hub, which is a SaaS. SaaS, for those who do not know, it's a very tech term. I think it's software as a service, from what I understand, his business. And he basically helps restaurants build better operational systems. So David's career spans from everything from studying here at Basque Culinary Center, where I'm recording from now, and working at kitchens to food joints. And now he's tackling this very important question that every chef eventually faces. How do we fix the system from the inside out? So from people who've been inside, how do you make tools that fix the system? And that's actually what attracted me to speak to David. I saw his posts on LinkedIn. I recommend everybody to follow him. He makes these small tutorials, small videos, very personal, very real, from what I see, and they share a lot about your everyday calculations, everyday management, on how to be somebody who's more efficient. So yeah, with all that introduction, welcome to the podcast, David.
Thank you, Furqan. I appreciate the invite. As I was telling you before, it's important to have these spaces to share so that people understand that in this industry, you don't need to be a cook. You don't need to be only a chef. You have skills that you can add value to other areas and of course bring change to and more appreciation to what a chef means.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, precisely the theme we are trying to hit with the podcast, and yeah, nice to know that it connects with your own personal journey, David. So first of all, I would love to know, before we dig into what is Food Hub, what you're doing right now, where you're right now, let's talk about how did you start in food? At what point did food as a career come into your mind? How was your early connections to food like?
Yeah, so it started very early in my life. Honestly, I was a very hyperactive kid. Um, and my mom will like try to put me into summer camps to like just put my energy somewhere else. And one of those summer camps, one time she put me in a cooking
Okay.
summer. What happened? She noticed that when I was cooking, I was calm, I was focused. I was like 5 years old at this point. I still remember like that summer camp. I still remember we made some empanadas, we made some like tortillas. That I think that was the first kind of interaction with cooking for me.
Hmm.
Uh, from that, I just like fell in love with it. Honestly, I remember like instead of watching cartoons or instead of watching, I don't know, like video games, I was watching like Cake Boss. I was watching just like food channels. I was writing down recipes. I was trying them out. Of course, some of them were awful. Some of them were better. But I feel that was the first interaction with food in my life. My parents, later on, when I was around, I would say 14, 12, they decided to sign me up to an actual certificate to become like a um, pastry and boulangerie chef.
Okay.
I went to a course. It was like 7 months long. I was doing it while I was still in high school. And that was like the first professional certificate that I got, I would say as a cook.
Hmm.
Um, from there, I mean, I was just very clear for me, since that first interaction that I wanted to like dedicate myself to culinary aspects.
But it's also very cool, right? Because not many parents I know who would be like very supportive of kitchen as a career. So for your
Right.
parents to see, like, send you there in high school, because I know many parents, myself, like, focus on high school in India, for example. Grades are super important. It's very much about get the grades. So you do not want any other distraction. And in that case, I feel they saw something very young into you, and it's cool that you got to see at such a young age, get some sort of professional education into pastry, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, I was very entrepreneurial also. And I remember in primary school, I was selling cookies. I was selling like
Nice.
ravioli, cakes, cupcakes. I was the guy, like, if you wanted to make like a celebration, you came to me and I like gave you a cake, or even professors will like order stuff from
Hmm.
me. And
And
people
this is
just
Mexico,
remember me.
right?
Yeah, this is in Mexico. I remember
Okay.
people remember me as like just selling always around food. Like they
Uh
always
huh.
used to remember me like that. Um, I would say the moment I decided to seriously pursue this career was when I went to the U.S. in an exchange year.
Hmm.
It was like my second solo trip, and I was there for 11 months. It was like an exchange program. And I was hosted by a couple of families. And what happened is that um, like my family's from Colombia and from Mexico, and we're very rooted around the table, like cooking and having uh, a lot of like social interaction around food, right? But in US, it was like a shock for me because like families there don't really cook; they eat out a lot, and I decided to do that job for my family, being like the person cooking and the person bringing everyone around the table. And I fell in love with that. I mean, from that moment, I was 17. From that moment on, I started looking for universities. I saw the CIA in New York. I saw Basque Culinary Center. And honestly, like the moment I saw Basque Culinary Center, I was like, I want to go there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, the option, I want to go there. I'm gonna go through the application process. This was like my junior year of high school.
Mm-hmm. And what's it
Uh,
about the program like? Because this is also very interesting because a lot of chefs. I mean, depends on your budget, depends where in the world you are, depends how accessible these things are. For you, what is it that attracted you or said, why I want to go to Spain? Is it the location? Is it what did you know people who had studied over there, or what was it for you?
um, my first job, I worked with a chef who studied with Luis Irizar in San Sebastian.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I was 16 at the time. I was literally a line cook,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd say he had a lot of influence
Mm,
um, in me making that decision also. Because I mean, you know how gastronomy is lived in San Sebastian.
right.
It's in the blood. Like everybody like knows something about food, something
Mm-hmm.
about an ingredient. Like people are super proud of their culinary and just their cultural heritage around food, right? And that was number one, I would say. Number two, I would say in terms of price and value, I,
Mm-hmm.
Basque Culinary Center had like a very good offer because they had
Mm-hmm.
the chefs, they had like a new program designed not only for you to become a cook, but it gave you a bigger scope uh, for you to be in the space, but not necessarily open a restaurant and be a chef, right? It just gave you a
Right.
lot of opportunities, and I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, I would say it was just international. Um, like it was just like I expected to be in a place with a lot of inputs of a lot of people from many places, and I saw this in Basque Culinary Center. It's something that I feel that if you want to be a good chef, if you want to be a good cook at the time, I felt like you should understand other people's cultures, and I think that in Basque Culinary Center this was the case. Right? And I met people from China, I met people from India, I met people from many places, and that's something that wasn't like an incentive for me to go to Basque Culinary Center. Yep.
Right. And how was it? Because it's very interesting you said about gastronomy, because most people go to culinary art schools. I mean, the offer they give at CIA also is a very culinary focused degree, and so are many career paths to become a chef. Whereas the one at BCC is a degree in gastronomy because in the fourth year or the third year you can specialize into food service, you can go into to R&D, you can go to being into culinary vanguard. But for you, today from where you stand, how much of that education has been useful? Also your perception, because this is something, because I've not studied over there but I still work at the same company. For me it's very interesting because still I feel, as somebody who works at Basque Culinary Center, and I hope nobody working there is listening, hopefully, as it is in English, I think my listeners will not be so many from Basque Culinary Center, but I'm sometimes very often questioning that. Of course the culinary side is very very strong, and I mean the word culinary is in the name. All the patrons or all the people who are in the board are all chefs. Are all chefs like Arsa, Caquelar, Pedro Soviana, Andoni Adoriz, etc. And everybody, when they graduate, the graduation ceremony is in a chef coat. So this makes me feel that they are, yes, preparing you for this 360 gastronomy, that everything is the kitchen is not the beginning and end of everything, but there are many careers out of there. And I know that every year more people passing out of BCC. Very few of them are actually ending up working at kitchens or staying in kitchens for the next 5 years after graduating. How do you see that perception into the influence of the chef jacket, or the influence of the whole cook mentality? Like, do you think that is a good representation of other careers out of gastronomy? Or I feel personally the cook is a very overpowering, I don't know if it's good for the brand or if it's easier to sell as a course. How do you see that reflection after having left the program? I don't know, how many years ago did you finish your degree?
Finished 3 years ago.
Three
I
years
would
ago.
say that thing that you're saying around
Mm-hmm.
that they have the chefs that sponsor the school and then they promote the school with the images of the chefs. Uh, like I think it's just like a marketing tactic, honestly, and
Mm-hmm.
also it's speaking directly to their target audience, right?
Right.
Because when you start in the Basque Culinary Center, your level of consciousness around not consciousness but understanding around gastronomy and the world of gastronomy is very narrow. Then this was my
Mm-hmm.
experience entering to the Basque
Yeah.
Culinary Center. I mean, cause like when you enter there, you're like, I wanna like be a Michelin star chef. I want
Mm-hmm.
to innovative stuff. I want to make people feel with my food, have a complete sensorial experience. That was like maybe it's different now. I should say
Mm-hmm.
because now social media and like just the interaction with food is different. People have like more inputs around it, but
Mm-hmm.
at the time, 2017, like this was a very good marketing tactic to speak to their
Right.
target audience to sign up for the program, right? I should say that what Basque Culinary Center gave me, it's this mindset and this paradigm shift around what it means to be a chef, what it means to be a cook, what it means to work in hospitality. It just gives you like a very broad scope around the potential of you being like a professional in this industry. Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I completely understand. I mean, I think it's very correct what you say about the whole idea of marketing, narrowing it down your audience as much as possible, and then of course getting them into the course and then showing them, there are more possibilities. You don't need to be the next Davis Munoz. There is more careers out there which you can explore with your knowledge of the culinary side of things. And tell us a little about what kind of restaurants did you work in before you got into your current career setup? Like, what was the first few restaurants? What did you learn from them? And what have you kept from them into your current business?
Yeah, so I worked in not so many restaurants, honestly. Like I worked in Bodegon Alejandro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know it. It's a little
Yeah.
80-pack restaurant in the Parte Vieja and San Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
That was a tough job, honestly. Like I
Yeah.
used to work there maybe 20 to 14 hours, 2 hour
Mm.
break. And we would start at 8 a.m. and finish around
Wow.
12. Summertime it was like crazy because like we were just 4 people in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
4 people, sometimes three, and we would serve like 80 people, like menú degustación sometimes, a la carta. It's like, what did I learn from that? Um, I would say the menu, how they designed it was very simplistic and it was very
Mm-hmm.
rooted in the product.
Mm-hmm.
They did not overcomplicate like the production process or the plating. It was very simple, very true to and respectful to the ingredients. Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I learned at that experience. I also learned the toughness of being a cook
Mm-hmm.
because like the kitchen was like, so when you go to the restaurant you go down, right, in the
Yeah.
parte vieja, and it's
Yeah. Yeah.
already humid, and to go to the kitchen it's another level down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the hood at that restaurant did not work very well, and the drains didn't like, I don't know if I can say this, but you can
Yeah, I
edit this
mean,
part.
for those who don't know, it's the restaurant run by IXO Group, which is the
Yeah,
group behind Mugar. It's also so a lot of clients when I was working in Mugaris,
yeah.
we used to send them like they used to say where can we go to eat next day, and we used to mostly send them to Bodega Alejandro. But yeah, you keep going. I don't think they're listening the podcast.
All right. I mean, I should say not the best conditions to work at. I like it was like the floor was wet all the time. It was
Uh huh.
hot, and the labor intense was high. Like the
Yeah.
intensity of the labor was high. I actually got injured. I mean,
Wow.
I'm a like a I mean workaholic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I used to like go there in my break. I will go to the gym, and then from the gym I will go back to my I will not rest. It was like
Okay.
8 a.m. and I got injured because of that. I did not
Mm.
let my like body rest completely. I was just like blindly motivated, you know. It was
Yeah.
my first professional experience. I wanted to do my best, and I mean, uh, I feel that sometimes when you're that naive, people take advantage of you, right? Because I mean, they take advantage of you, but you also learn a lot. So it's like
Definitely. Yeah, it's a give and
it's
take at the end of the
a
day.
give and take. It's a trade you need to do. Um, but I should say from that experience, I learned what I just shared, and I also learned just the importance of having like a, because like I would say the chef and the people there were very motivated and very supportive around the service. We really were a team. We had like great comida familia all the
Mm-hmm.
time. I really appreciated that experience. That was one restaurant. Next restaurant I worked at, Cocina Hermanos Torres
Mm-hmm.
in Barcelona. Completely like black and white.
Yeah.
Black and white. Cocina Hermanos Torres is probably the best kitchen I've seen I mean, in like a restaurant scale size type of kitchen, right? It was just like, the kitchen was bigger than the hall.
Mm.
Like each section had their own walk-in and their own freezer. They have like a central kitchen. They had like three stations. The way it was designed, it was super easy to give service because like servers will come for the first three appetizers and the next three and then maybe the next three and then desserts.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an L. It was designed like an L, the kitchen, and it was just like a perfect workflow. Some dishes were finished in the uh, we call them islas, islands.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
just like little kitchen segments in the middle of the hall. Some dishes were finished there as a show cooking. It was like a great business model because like the chefs there also had um like a lot of followers on social media. From them, I learned the leverage like social media can give you for the success of your restaurant. They will get like everything sponsored. It was insane. Like the fish, the crab, like most of
Mm-hmm.
their proteins were sponsored. They would not pay for it just to use the
Wow.
brand of a company.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they were very profitable because of that. I mean, of course, the stagiaires only had like, I mean, they had a lot of employees, but they also had
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stagiaires, right? I think it's something
Uh-huh.
that it's very frequent in Michelin star restaurants, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To make the operation feasible, they need more hands because the processes in the kitchen they just need a lot of detail. And I also worked at Pujol,
Uh-huh.
in Mexico City. I should say this was the restaurant in where I saw the most precision and the most. They were super disciplined around how things should be. Like if the sauce was not a specific texture, they will throw it away. If the brunoise was not consistent, they will throw it away. Even if
Wow.
you had like 90% of it perfect, if it was not like
Mm-hmm.
perfect, they will throw it away. It was
Mm-hmm.
super. Yeah, it was just like the culture there. It was a like a very serious environment, I should
Mm-hmm.
say. But something very noticeable around Pujol is that at least 60% of the people working there were stagiaires.
Okay.
Again, going back into operational feasibility for a restaurant and uh, profitability, I should say like Pujol, if it was like a real restaurant with real employees, it would not be profitable because of the amount of like hands that they need to be able to deliver the volume
Right.
that they deliver and the quality that they deliver. Because something that was very mm, shocking about Pujol is that everything's prepared from scratch the same day,
Okay.
except for some sauces like the mole. But
Mm-hmm.
everything arrives like at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
A truck. They bring everything fresh. They only prepare for that day, and they don't store. Like they don't really have like storage in
Mm-hmm.
Pujol in the kitchen, which is crazy to think. They have like a small walk-in and where they store um, like stuff for to make some salsas, but that's pretty much it. And the hoja santa, because they use a lot of
Mm-hmm.
hoja santa in the
Yeah.
tortillas. Um, yeah, I should say that was the experience in Pujol. Of course, I made a lot of connections there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I actually met I met one person, a Korean friend. He actually was a very important role in my professional career. I will share a little bit about why.
Right.
Uh, but I should say that the most valuable thing that I got from working at those restaurants is just meeting the people who work there, making genuine connections. Because I mean, you're in the same boat, right? You're
Mm.
working the same hours. You are uh, just doing the same task. You truly make connection with people there because uh, I mean you're going through it together, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what's meaningful when
Yeah.
working. Of course, people. might have different experiences than mine. I never had like a bad experience in the kitchen. But I should say that's the good thing that I got from working at restaurants that are Michelin star level. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean what you're speaking about, and we already see through your conversations of like we know so far that you've studied at the Basque Culinary Center. You studied before that while living in Mexico. Your early exposure to food itself as a profession, and then now you speak about the restaurants that you worked at, and while you speak and explain them, we already see that how you're seeing them in a very different way. I don't think everybody who walks into Hermanos Torres sees the brand deals or sees the organization of the restaurant, how it helps it smoothly work. But was there a certain point that you remember that you were working at these kitchens having these passive thoughts of this could be done better, or there's one use case done better than the other one? At what point did you think that this could be your profession today? Like what led to this transformation journey?
So when I finished all my internships in the Basque Culinary Center, my third year, I had to stop my education because of COVID.
Okay. Oh yeah,
And
true.
I stopped my education and I had to be here in Mexico because of COVID. What happened during that year? I opened my bakery. I opened a bakery. I was a entrepreneur of a bakery here. With a dark kitchen and delivered to restaurants, cafeterias, and people. I live in a neighborhood where we have 900 houses. Was my market, literally, and people will appreciate because it was COVID. You couldn't get like good quality bread, and I would like
Mm,
deliver good quality bread to them. Why did that project fail?
mm-hmm.
Because from my experience in like working like I should say Michelin star restaurants, I knew how to like operate properly,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily how to manage and scale a business, right?
Okay.
It was me doing everything. It was me doing
Mm-hmm.
everything, and I never had the
Yeah.
vision of like gating. I never had the vision of like systematizing. It was just me doing very artisanal processes because I believe that was the way to create the best bread possible for my clients. I was sold
Mm-hmm.
to that idea. Uh, it come to a point where it was a bottleneck, and I was just working too much hours. I was waking up 4:30 a.m., working until 10 p.m. Like
Mm-hmm.
from production to marketing to uh, dealing with clients, delivery, uh, just like processing next day orders, preparing for the next day production. I mean, a sourdough takes 36 hours to make, right? And it starts from like feeding your sourdough for it to get ready. It was just like I was like dealing with madness at that point, and I got
Mm-hmm.
burned out. I got burned out,
Right.
and what did I learn from that? The systems are the key to, of course, organizing, scaling, being able to delegate properly, documenting everything. I mean, I did not do it at the time, but I
Mm-hmm.
had the chance to do it, and this is where my Korean friend comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped the bakery around May 2021. I was
Okay.
like sad, depressed that I mean, the business was going good, but I was just
Mm-hmm.
burned out. I couldn't like keep going. I was just me, and I mean, I was working by myself. It got lonely, right? It got very
Mm-hmm.
lonely. So I wanted a little change. I wanted a little change, and like my third internship got canceled. This is an important data point. Because of COVID, I was gonna go to Japan, but it got
Wow.
canceled.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was canceled. So I had that little stitch in my heart of like, oh, I want to go to
Yeah.
Asia. I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So during this time, May 2021, I'm like DMing people to see where I can work. I'm DMing
Mm-hmm.
bakeries in the Netherlands. I'm DMing bakeries in Spain because like I still need to finish the Basque Culinary Center.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have 1 year left, but in the meantime, between May and September of going back to San Sebastian to finish my university, I'm like looking for opportunities to work. Right?
Okay.
So I text my Korean friend. He worked in Pujol for 2 years, but now he's back in Korea also because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And he started his guacamole company, right? He started
Okay.
his guacamole company. He's selling vacuum seal guacamole in Korean markets.
Mm-hmm.
But I text him and I'm like, hey brother, like if you need help with some R&D, like making menus and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean I'm down. Like if you tell me, I go there and we work together. And he's like, you know what? I'm actually thinking on opening my restaurant.
Okay.
So and it's gonna be a Mexican restaurant because like of
Mm-hmm.
course his background is super funny because he was an architect. He was studying architecture in Berkeley in California. He tried he tried a taco and he was like, "Fuck architecture. I'm studying gastronomy. I love
Wow.
Mexican food." he quit Berkeley and he went to a university in Mexico to study gastronomy in Mexico. He started working in Pujol.
Crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he invites me to open his restaurant, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is like the first uh, eye-opening experience for me because it's like, wow, I can sell my knowledge. I mean, he paid me like nothing. Like I think it was like
Yeah,
a thousand
still.
bucks and like or $2,000 for like a
Yeah, yeah.
4 month service. But I was like happy to go to like Korea and help him open his Mexican restaurant because I'm
Mm-hmm.
Mexican. It was like I'm
Yeah,
an ambassador of my culture or my culinary. So
exactly.
I go there without a single idea on how to open a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But like my friend hires me just to help him with the menu, right? Even though like everything was in Korean, I was able to grasp the process of opening a restaurant. It was
Mm-hmm.
super eye-opening for me because I noticed there are more areas to consider, right, in terms of like infrastructure, in terms of uh like operational efficiency in terms of your menu design,
Mm-hmm.
uh how you structure your like the spaces in where you serve the fruit for more profitability, marketing side of things, storytelling. He had like a partner. He studied cinematography in California. He was like
Okay.
insanely good at storytelling. Like he will capture Mexican culture so good, and he would just frame it in a way that makes it luxurious, and Korean people would love it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that experience was super, um, um, I should say eye-opening, as I just mentioned, but I just learned a lot. I just learned a lot, and it gave me the foundations to start my consulting company. I saw literally the process from having an idea
Mm-hmm.
and building a brick and mortar from scratch, firsthand.
David, I wanted to ask you, like, what are you currently building? Like, hearing all these experiences, like, I would be very interested to know, like, what are you currently building at Food Hub beyond the consultation, the tools you're making, and
Yeah.
primarily, I would say, what kind of problems are you solving through what you currently do?
So from
Mm-hmm.
that moment on, we went also to Harvard to do research there. I learned a
Okay.
lot of like statistic tactics to be more efficient in terms of uh,
Okay.
building systems, experimentation. Uh, I mean, it was a totally different research in terms. It was like food science when I
Mm-hmm.
was in Harvard, but I learned a lot of tools that allow me to be more efficient and effective, right?
Okay.
After Harvard, we have been doing a lot of consulting in many countries. We were in Galapagos, we were in Guayaquil in Ecuador,
Mm-hmm.
we were in San Diego, California, we were in Mexico City, and now we're here in Cancun,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico. We helped a hotel open in Galapagos. We helped a bakery open in Guayaquil, Ecuador. We helped a restaurant open in San Diego, California. We helped a restaurant open in Mexico City. And we helped a fitness bar open here in Cancun, and now we're working with boutique hotels with 3 restaurants.
Okay.
Our services have been evolving a lot. First,
Mm-hmm.
it was just menu design, operational, and kitchen. Now we are at a stage in where we have 3 main services as consultants. We create projects from scratch. We innovate projects, which means improving the offer and your operation. And we scale, which means like creating uh, like systems, structure to be able to copy paste your restaurant, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
almost like a franchise, building your franchise model, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What are we building from all of those learnings, all of those projects? We've identified the biggest problem in the restaurant industry. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Inconsistency.
Mm-hmm.
Inconsistency is the biggest problem in the restaurant industry because of many reasons, right? Maybe your cooks are not well trained. Maybe your cooks, um, your service, you have a lot of turnover, so your service is not consistent, right? The plating, some cooks put it this way, some other cooks put it that way. This
Mm-hmm.
is on, I mean, Michelin star, it's something different, right? Michelin star, it's
Yeah.
another category of restaurants because they just have a lot of hands and they just have people with a lot of knowledge around culinary processes. It's a total different model. But for an independent restaurant owner, for a local restaurant, it's super different, right? Because uh, you're literally operating with tight margins. You're operating with people with not so much culinary knowledge. It's just people
Mm-hmm.
who decided to be a cook, decided to be a server, and they're like doing their professional career there. Sometimes they don't even have education, right? They don't have a background in culinary. They don't have a background in any type of like university I mean, not the case always, but it's
Right.
the most common
Yeah.
theme in all the world. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm exaggerating here, but I would say it's all the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the main problem is inconsistency. And
Okay.
why? Because restaurants don't have systems and
Mm-hmm.
they don't know how to build the systems properly, right? You've heard before, manual of operations for my restaurant is gonna solve my inconsistency issues. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not the case. Like, have you seen a cook read like a manual of operations ever in your whole career?
No,
No,
no, no. I mean,
no. It's something that it's not. I mean, it can happen, but right? Some restaurants do. Some
yeah, but
successful
it's a
restaurants.
habit at the end of the day. I mean,
Yeah.
you need to be really behind somebody's ass, and is it then worth spending that much time if the person is reading the manual? I mean, it has to be something more obvious than reading an SOP.
Right. I mean, some franchises they have their own internal systems,
Yeah.
their own internal tech to manage their
Mm-hmm.
operations, to train their staff, to control their like daily execution, to ensure that the standards it's at a certain level, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty much building a tool that would allow all restaurants have
Mm-hmm.
this level of operational excellence.
Right.
The design of this tool, it's of course built from the experience that we had opening
Mm-hmm.
multiple restaurants, and it comes from the experience of noticing the patterns of a successful restaurant, right? I mean, you can
Mm-hmm.
just see Chick-fil-A, right? It's
Yeah.
they focus on hospitality of fast food, hospitality and fast
Mm-hmm.
food and systems, right? They close on Sundays and they're the most profitable like fast food chain store in the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
which is insane. They are not open 24/7, right? Why? I mean, we've been able to recognize, of course, from studying, from opening, from seeing patterns of what successful restaurants do.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like to an independent restaurant owner who is stuck in the operations, who is stuck in dealing with turnover, who is stuck with retraining their staff, who is stuck with dealing like high profits, it's hard for them to be able to build those systems, right? And it's like a vicious cycle. It's like a vicious cycle, right? Sometimes as an owner, you get motivated, you start building systems, you create paper checklists, you try to train your staff like gets it a little bit, they start using the checklist, but then your staff leaves. On average, 70% of restaurant staff rotate.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine like the vicious cycle that this is. Like how would you be able to scale your restaurant? How are you gonna be able to organize your restaurant if you're doing everything yourself manually? If all the knowledge is in your head, if
Mm-hmm.
if the current tools that exist are all fragmented, right? Because like that's I mean like an average restaurant owner, you go with him, like you pray that they have recipes. That's
Yeah.
number one, and like you pray that they have like some sort of organization, which is not the
Mm-hmm.
case.
Yeah.
And the reasons why they don't have that is because the reasons I just mentioned, right? Because of this vicious cycle. So we're creating a tool that would allow you to get those systems in a very seamless way. And we're working very hard to be able to do that. Like our goal is for a restaurant owner to get our tool and in 1 month time
Mm-hmm.
have all their systems organized. Of course, this tool have the like a pre-built architecture of like the natural order of restaurant operations. And that comes from our knowledge of like building restaurants. So it's gonna be a tool that is gonna be very easy to use, easy to implement, but we're not gonna launch until we have a product that delivers.
That's super cool. I mean, I think at the end of the day, as you said, it's less about control, less about thinking the old school way where one person has to do all of this. But I think making tech your friend and using all that's going on in tech right now to I think a tool like this or a software like this can help like the other people in the kitchen who are not maybe the head chef or not maybe the owner become more collaborative into things that they can do in the natural flow of things. Maybe you could put systems where it could be a collaborative effort to do this, but in all of this I see also that a lot of kitchen staff is young, but there's also a very aging side to it. So on that case of things, how do you see like the tech side of things and the human creativity? Because again, a lot of things can be tech, like I mean a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's can be made tech and standardized because they do not have to be creative constantly. They're actually supposed to be consistent. That's their order of business. But how do you think can these two sides of the game, like creativity and tech, coexist, or do you see that rivals of each other? How do you see that into current restaurant systems?
It's funny you say that because I feel that we also have like this dichotomy of seeing creativity
Mm-hmm.
being something that is against tech,
Mm-hmm.
right? We feel that tech doesn't allow us to be creative. I feel the opposite. I feel the
Mm-hmm.
opposite, right? I was just gonna go into that. Our goal with this tool, it's the following. Uh, for chefs, we want to enable creativity because why do a chef become less creative? Because he's too worried on daily operations. What
Mm-hmm.
if you have a tool that allows you to streamline your operation without you having to worry about it?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have more headspace to be more creative, to be more strategic, to actually measure the things that push the restaurant forward, right? And
Yep.
then for a general manager, what's the most important thing as a general manager? Bringing the best customer experience possible to your guests. Again, if your staff is well trained, they know the systems, they know the protocol, and they can be trained seamlessly, like you're gonna be more focused in bringing a better experience and not so worried about somebody like making a mistake during service or I don't know, not knowing how to manage a customer complaint. There's
Mm-hmm.
always gonna be customer complaints, but you have a structure and a training and where that's in place. I mean, you can see it in the best hotels in the world, right? Ritz-Carlton, Marriott, like they literally have pre-built systems on how to deal with this thing. At even to an extreme point in where, like for example, the Ritz Carlton, they have like a $2,000 uh like sort of like safeguard to deal
Mm-hmm.
with customer complaints to solve the
Okay.
issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they know the model, they know how to bring great hospitality, great culinary experience, and they know like that they need to build systems to be able to do that. And that's what makes, I mean, and like the opposite of like what makes a restaurant successful compared to
Mm-hmm.
what makes a restaurant fail. Inconsistency is what makes it fail. What makes it succeed, it's consistency in their brand, in their concept, in the delivery of the service. Uh, and I mean, going back to your question, I think creativity is not gonna be something that's is gonna stop because of this tool.
Mm-hmm.
Our vision is that creativity is gonna be enabled.
Yeah.
I creativity only comes with a calm mind, or not necessarily. Like sometimes creativity also comes from uh,
Chaos. You know.
chaos. I mean, I would argue that most of us prefer having creativity from a calm
Yeah, I
and peaceful.
mean, to be, I mean, to also be consistently creative, you need a system. It can't be just, it can't be just just by the heck of it or just by chance something happens. And that's, I
Yeah,
mean, that's also creative that you by mistake end up doing something. But then again, that won't let you lead a successful restaurant business. At least the economic part. I mean, you could make a very sustainable dish, but at the end of the day, if you do not know how much it is costing you, if it's actually better to compost it rather than creating that
yeah,
tamari with your eggshells, I do not know. I mean, that's tools like yours and systems like yours which would help it. And I feel what I find very noble about your idea in this tool that you're creating is that it makes it democratizes a lot of this tech, because again, as you said, Ritz Carlton can afford to have these systems, Marriott can afford to have these systems, but I feel the tools that you're creating and people who have lived it within the system and not doing as a consultant, as a tech consultant or as a future strategist, you're doing it somebody who has faced these troubles, who has come up with a solution for it, and something that can enable these smaller single owner restaurants or smaller hotel chains, so that I find that really cool. But talking to you about this as well, like I guess listeners who are listening to this would be wondering, like, how does David do this? But I would love to know your take on how's life right now compared to your, I mean, I know that right now you're also doing your consultant work, which I guess is very demanding. But when you see these two sides of your life, one is creating this tech tool, talking to restaurants, maybe doing marketing pitches for it, making decks for it, solving everyday issues with it, or being a chef. Would you say one path is easier than the other, requires different skills? How do you see yourself in those two roles?
I mean, of course, I have the chef side, I have the entrepreneurial side, and honestly, it's I've been like incorporating a lot of tools that allow me to be more efficient with my workflows and all the objectives that I want to achieve in terms of my professional career. I love progress. I love learning. Uh, I definitely don't frame things as hard or as easy. Um, I think everything requires the time it requires. I think that anything that you want to build of value requires time investment, requires focus, requires intention. So to answer your question, I mean, of course, some things I lack some knowledge around how to do it. The technical side, for example. But I mean, I'm just like using all the tools and my network that I have at hand to be able to achieve it in the most meaningful and intentional way. As I mentioned to you before, like I don't want to like launch this like in a big way until it has the results that we want to for it to
Hmm.
have, right? So we're taking our time, we're building with intention, we're building with focus, and we don't want to rush. We don't want to like be like a marketing scheme and where we sell this huge. I mean, you see this all the time on social media, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, this new AI tool that will change your life. You sign up for the wait list. It's not even ready yet, right? They make you
yeah.
pay. It's not even ready yet. I mean, fair, fair. That's a good marketing strategy to validate your idea. And
Hmm.
but like if later you're not gonna deliver on that and you just did that because you noticed like there was a pain point and you took advantage of that, I mean that's not being very transparent and very
Yeah,
honorable in your career, right?
definitely.
So I mean that will be the answer to my to your question, like
Yeah, yeah.
what's hard or easy. Like for me it's just about giving each task the time it requires without rush, being patient with it, learning through the process. I mean I kind of give it a rush, right?
Hmm.
Because I feel this is something that will be impactful for the industry, and that's like my motivation and the reason why I want to do this. Uh, but like I know things take time. Good things take time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, you got to prioritize, as you said, it has to take the time it has to take. But again, putting your priorities and knowing where best you could do at that point, I think it's also like being ready, knowing the right time for it, and also as you said, like testing something before just making noise about it, adding pressure onto yourself, which is not required. You can yourself mark your KPIs and make your own goals that you want to reach, and then make it ready for public. So I find that very honorable, as you said. And lastly, David, I would like to ask you, like, if anybody else who's listening to the podcast as a chef wants to into entrepreneurship or tech or something related, what kind of advice would you give to them? Like maybe some early lessons that you learned by failing at them or by struggling to get past those barriers. What would you say to somebody who's has these ideas?
Don't wait for people to teach you something when you can learn it yourself. We're in an era in where all the information is available to you. Even with AI, you can like learn so much faster. Uh, Theory is something, uh, reality is something else, right? That's another advice I'm gonna give. Even though you might know a lot, if you don't put it to the practice, if you don't put it to execution, like you're not gonna know. Don't be. I mean, this is like a cliche, but
Hmm.
fail as much as you can. Take those risks. Uh, because if you're not comfortable somewhere, like why are you there in the first
Yeah.
place, right? When you have a lot of potential, you might be here, and when you make the decision to change, you might go down here. But it was your decision, and honor that, right? Honor it and be disciplined about where you want to go. Like it like if you're gonna take a career decision and then don't invest in it, like what the fuck are you doing? Like
Exactly.
I'm sorry for using those words, but if you're gonna if you're gonna like decide to change something about your career because you're not comfortable
Hmm.
somewhere, like invest in it. Do the most you can to be able to achieve that goal. And if you fail, believe me, you're gonna be somewhere else. You're not gonna be here. You might be here, but like the outcome might not be the one that you expected. Uh, and honestly, just trust yourself, trust in your abilities, see where you can add value. Like for me, early on, I noticed that I had a very I like a skill to be able to uh, grab big problems and bring in scenario solutions,
Hmm.
right? I always had that vision. It repeated itself throughout my career, even with simple restaurant operations, like managing, like I don't know, cutting a truffle. I've noticed ways to do it more effectively, and
Yeah.
chefs notice. So I always had that in me. I've noticed it throughout my career. So pay attention to yourself also. Pay attention to your skills, to your unique traits, because that's gonna allow you to to be successful in the way you're meant to be successful. Yeah.
Yeah, wise words, man. I mean, it's very ironic. Like all of the people who I asked this question towards the end, and like this is just me reflecting right now. As you said, like everybody says the same, that do not wait, because a lot of you out there who have interviewed on the podcast have people been. I mean, maybe we are not like the first ones who had this idea to do something, or we were not the first ones who thought, I could do something outside kitchens, but we were the ones who made that move, because dreams without actions are just dreams you can share and complain. Your reality is far from what you would like it to be. But as you said, you have to fight for that dream or that reality that you perceive in your future. So thanks so much, man. I would like, recommend everybody to, like, I will drop your links in the show notes and recommend everybody to join there. Hit the link in bio, join the circle that we are creating. We're creating a community basically where we have not just people like you, because you guys have already figured out how to get where you want to get. But there might be a lot of people out there who have these potential ideas, who just a few words from you from the last end of the podcast, the words that you've said, maybe give somebody the skills to, or the guts to go out there and say, you know what, I'm going to make this first step, because David did it. He passed out of this culinary school 3 years ago, so why can't I? And that's the whole point of this podcast. But David, I mean, thank you for sharing your story. It's from kitchens to consultancy to tech and what you're doing right now, for reminding us also that chefs can change the industry from many angles, not just by being inside the kitchen. So we will link, as I said, everything. And thanks once again for being on the podcast.
Thank you for the invite, and once again, thank you for making this space to share our stories. And I mean, we don't know what our actions mean to other people, and we don't know what our actions impact in other people's lives. So doing this, putting it out there, like, you're gonna see, like, a lot of people are gonna, like, start changing their mindset, and I think that's the goal, and I hope it happens. Yeah.
Definitely, man. Fingers crossed. Thanks so much.